Hey everyone, and welcome back to our channel. This is Cooking with Shay, brought to you by Child Time Creations, and today we're going to be making slow cooker beef and broccoli. First, here's an overview of the ingredients I will be using. Please check the description box for the specifics. I will have everything linked below. Any type of beef can be used or substituted in place of the beef stew meat that I use. I know some people use different types of steaks. I highly recommend choosing either a low sodium or no salt beef broth or soy sauce. This recipe can get really salty really quick. For the purpose of this video and because it's what we have at home, I did choose to just use the regular soy sauce. However, I did choose to go with beef broth that had no salt. In addition, if you don't have liquid beef broth, you can substitute it with using water and beef bouillon cubes or the powder. Optional ingredients that you can use are sesame oil, sesame seeds, green onion, or you could even season your beef beforehand to make it a little bit better. Everyone's crockpot is a little different, so I'm going to show you an overview of mine. I do have a newer model and it has a digital timer with the high, low, and warm controls. But feel free to use a timer on your phone. I'm going to add a tad bit of water to the slow cooker and set it on high just so that it can get preheated. And I do this so that it doesn't take extra time to both warm the slow cooker itself plus the food. So this way, once you put the food in, it'll just immediately start warming the food and it doesn't take any extra time. So while the crockpot is preheating, I'm going to take a bowl and add in my brown sugar, soy sauce, and beef broth. And I'm going to mix it all together until the sugar is mostly dissolved. I'm going to let it sit. Once the 30-minute timer goes off, add your meat to the bottom of the slow cooker. Pour the broth mixture over your meat. You can pour as little or as much as you would like. I prefer my meat to be completely submerged in the broth mixture. I'm going to give everything a stir to make sure it's all mixed. And then I'm going to set my crock pot to about 4.5 to 5 hours on low. Your cooking time is going to vary depending on your crock pot. If you don't like the consistency, just add another 30 minutes and so forth. It's better to start with a lower time than start with a higher time, because if you start with a higher time, you might overcook it. Whereas if you start with a lower time, you can always cook it a little longer, if that makes sense. All right, about halfway through the cooking time, I'm going to check it and give everything a good stir. All right, at this point, I'm going to thicken up my sauce. This is a completely optional part. If you like the consistency that your broth is right now, you don't have to thicken it. But if you would like it a little thicker or saucier, you can go ahead and do this step. With about 30 minutes left of cooking time, I'm taking out a bit of the broth and I'm mixing in some cornstarch. And then I'm going to pour it back into the mixture and then stir it around, because the heat is going to start to cook the cornstarch mixture and it's going to start to thicken up. All right, with 10 to 20 minutes left of cook time, I think this is the perfect time to add your broccoli to the slow cooker and stir it in. The time is going to vary depending on how done you would like your broccoli. I'm going to do 10 minutes before the cook time is done because I prefer crunchy broccoli over soggy broccoli. During this time, you would also make your side dish that you want to go with. So I've made our side of jasmine rice and we're just waiting on this to finish up. Now that my crock pot has switched to warm, it's completely done cooking and it's cooling off. This is the time where you can go ahead and garnish with some sesame seeds or green onion if you would like. But I don't find those steps necessary, so I'm just going to leave it at this and I'm just going to get ready and plate everything. So hope you enjoy.